All right. Hi. Today we're going to be talking about patients embracing telehealth. My name is Alexandra Fletcher, and
I'm
I'm here
Patrick
with,
Pham. Oh, sorry,
And
I'm
I'm
Patrick Pham.
Sophia Thompson. Oh, I'm Sophia Thompson. Okay.
all right. I'm first going to talk about overview of what telehealth is. So telehealth is a virtual communication application for patients to have healthcare visits, whether physical or mental, without having to go into a provider's office. It is a way to integrate virtual communication and in-person visits to make healthcare more accessible and convenient, along with having patients feel more comfortable communicating with their healthcare provider. In a study done by Elevance Health, Americans want the ability to utilize more digital methods when it comes to managing their health. The participants also say that the convenience and accessibility of the visits being online are the top traits of telehealth. So, telehealth in general is virtually meeting up with a provider, whether mental or physical, so a therapist or another healthcare provider, and talking about your health needs and any questions you have about your health.
Okay, so when talking about the impact that telehealth can have on patient healthcare, there's many things that telemedicine has the potential to change about it. The implications are as widespread as telemedicine is, and since it can help people anywhere in the world, those implications are pretty wide. These things include stuff like patient outreach, the effectiveness, the convenience for the patients, the time required, and even things such as social distancing that was like really apparent during the COVID-19 pandemic. So first, when we're talking about the potential impacts to the patient, um, when patients embrace telehealth, it can help them overcome barriers such as distance, transportation costs, and work and childcare obligations. So instead of having to drive to the doctor's office and the potential gas money that they may or may not have, as well as if you're already working 40-hour weeks and then doctor's offices are closed on the weekends, telemedicine can help overcome barriers such as these. You can have phone calls, and then it's really convenient even if you do them over the weekend or like outside of office hours, and then you don't have to worry about the transportation cost that comes with car maintenance and gas and stuff like that. And besides these barriers, telehealth can also empower patients to take their healthcare into their own hands by giving them easier access to refills, reminders from the provider, as well as support. It helps improve medication adherence from the patients and also makes them easier. It makes it easier for them to manage their chronic conditions. So instead of having to go to like a daily checkup or I'm sorry, a yearly checkup just to get refills, reminders about stuff and support, they can instead just schedule a call through like an online scheduling website. And that way it becomes easier for them to get their medication refills without having to like physically go in. It can also help with medication adherence by having more frequent visits with a doctor through a video call, which isn't as doesn't take as much time from their schedule. So that way they have to receive support and they're wanting to take their medications more and more. And then obviously it makes it easier to help chronic conditions because a lot of older patients that have chronic conditions such as hypertension and diabetes need frequent refills on a lot of their medications, and not having to go into a physical location instead of just getting a call for those refills makes it a lot more convenient. Uh, so the benefits to the patients are pretty clear, but there are also benefits to the provider that telemedicine can have, uh, which in turn also helps the patients when you help the provider. These advantages include the increased efficiency, reduction in administrative costs, and expanded reach to patients in remote or underserved area. So the increased efficiency is pretty clear. You don't have to like schedule patients back to back. You can always have a video call, and then you don't have like that time that they spend in the office just trying to get out and stuff like that. And then you can meet with another patient over video call whenever you need, and then they don't have the patient or you don't have to or the provider don't have to calculate in the time that it takes for transportation and stuff like that. It also reduces administration costs because they're not having to go into like an actual facility. So instead of the facility having to be open for longer hours, you can instead just be the provider instead can be at home and then serve these patients in the comfort of their own house. It also expands reach to patients in remote or underserved areas. So like a lot of areas, especially in West Texas, don't have a lot of medical services available to them. And telemedicine can help with these as long as they have access to internet to the more remote areas and underserved areas. Telemedicine can provide a huge benefit to both the provider and the patients.
Okay, so next we have the ethical implications. So I'm going to start off with challenges within telehealth. So the first challenge is a limitation of telehealth is that physical examinations are near impossible to the inability of being able to move and palpate a patient. So basically that just means like over Zoom, a doctor can't press your lymph nodes to see if they're inflamed, to see if you're actually sick, and maybe move your elbow if your elbow is hurting. They can't do those things over telehealth. So that would be a limitation, and that would be something you would have to go into a physical office and get looked at. Another challenge is that telehealth has a lot of rules and regulations that can restrict the care of patients or of the patients received. And so basically, as of right now, there are a ton of rules and regulations that do make it difficult for doctors to prescribe different types of medications and even like a lot of first diagnosis and first meetings of patients. It's really hard to do those over telehealth due to the rules and regulations. Another challenge is that patients can also lie about symptoms they're having to receive medication or a doctor's note to skip school/work. So a big problem has been we have had a lot of people go in to telehealth meetings and say, "Oh, I have ADHD," and say all the symptoms of having ADHD, and then they're getting Adderall. And right now we're in a really big Adderall shortage. And a lot of it is because we are noticing a lot more patients with ADHD, and doctors are looking for those signs, but a lot of it too is telehealth. Patients can lie, get out of school or work easier because there's not that physical examination. Again, they don't have to feel the lymph nodes, they can't check your heart rate, they can't check your temperature when you are doing a telehealth Zoom. So it is beneficial in the ways that you're not spreading the disease, but not necessarily you may not have the disease at all. Another challenge is the lack of multi-state licensures. So there may be a really good doctor in New York, and it is very hard to have a telehealth meeting inner like states. So like I can't in Texas, I can't have a Zoom meeting with a doctor in New York. And if I can, it is very hard due to like the rules and regulations. So next we have ethical implications again, but this time we're going to look on the advantages. So some advantages of telehealth is it can prevent the spread of diseases, like I was saying. And then another advantage is that telehealth can also help healthcare providers see the natural, oh, they can see the natural habitats that a patient's home that they're in. So say you're on a telehealth Zoom and the patient is like, I'm so healthy and I eat healthy. I don't know what's wrong with me. But then the doctor can see 3 Coke cans in the back. He can obviously tell that, maybe this patient is lying a little bit. It is harder to see natural habitats and get people's natural habits that they may be ashamed of in a doctor's office because a patient may not be willing to open that up. And the patient didn't even tell the doctor that. He was just able to see that in the background. Another advantage is telehealth can be used as a post-diagnosis appointment. So a lot of people go in to get physical examinations done or tests or x-rays, and those don't come back immediately. They're not like, oh, sit in the office and wait 50 seconds and the test will be back. So it's good to schedule a telehealth Zoom just to inform the patient, like, hey, you have the flu. This is what we're going to do. This is medication we're going to give you. This is how you're going to get better. And if it's more of a chronic disease, then after that first visit, you can have multiple visits, weekly, monthly, however um, hard the disease is, or I guess that's the word. Whatever. Okay, another advantage is that telehealth also helps mental health patients that don't have the motivation to go to therapy. So there has been a lot of platforms recently surfacing, and they do your first visit is with a psychologist, and your second visit is with a mental health coach. And so that first visit with your psychologist, they're able to get you the medications that you need, and they're able to prescribe to you a therapist that closely relates to you, and you're able to talk to that therapist once a week, once a month, whatever that psychiatrist sees fit for you. Our last advantage is provides care to rural and underserved areas. And like Patrick was saying, some patients may not even have the money to get gas to go to their appointment. So this is a very good opportunity to serve underprivileged and underpopulated areas um, for with telehealth. Okay. So,
All right, so now we're going to move on to examples that we had filmed of how a telehealth communication could be conducted. So basically, we made a video of videos demonstrating how telehealth is beneficial for both mental and or physical problems with patients. Although these are only two examples, the effects of telehealth and healthcare, they show what providers can accomplish over video with patients and how telehealth has been a substantial new addition to the industry and will only grow and get better in years to come.
Good afternoon, Miss Thompson. It's good to see you again. How's your day been today?
it's been pretty good. It's been a little cold here recently, so I haven't been going outside too much.
Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm glad you're able to stay inside for this meeting. Has there anything been bothering you since I've last seen you, Miss Thompson?
No, nothing has been bothering me. I actually just wanted to ask if you could refill my albuterol and Humalog.
Of course, not a problem, Miss Thompson. I'll go ahead and put an order on those prescriptions for you, and I will send an electronic fax to your pharmacy so they'll have it on file for you next time you go to fill there.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. I'm showing here on my notes, last time I saw you, um, you're running low on the refills for your torvastatin. Were you needing those as well?
Actually, I've been taking that every other day because it's been giving me headache.
Okay, no problem. Let's see if I can help you with that a little bit. So the torbastatins for your cholesterol, let's try another one called the simvastatin. It works in a really similar way to the torvastatin that you've been taking, but people seem to have less side effects with this newer simvastatin. How does that sound?
That sounds good. I'll try it.
Okay, no problem. And have you still been monitoring your blood sugar levels daily, especially when using your Humalog?
Yes, I have.
Okay, that's good to hear, Miss Thompson. That's all I have for you today. I went ahead and already sent that new simvastatin prescription along with the refills you requested to the pharmacy you usually use. Do you have any other questions for me today?
Um, no, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. You have a good day, Miss Thompson. Bye bye.
Bye.
Hi, nice to meet you. What's your
Hi,
name?
Sophia.
Hi, Sophia. All right, so you're here to determine if you have PTSD today, correct?
Yes.
All right. Do you want to tell me about your experience and then we can go through the different steps if you have it?
Yes, so about a year and a half ago, I got in a car crash. And it was very bad. And whenever I was able to leave the hospital and everything, it was really hard for me those first couple weeks to even get in a car. And now that I've been able to drive around, I'm super careful on the road, but when somebody beeps at me, it gives me really bad flashbacks to my crash, and I really just think that it's always my fault. Even if it's just a mad driver, I always think it's my fault when I'm on the road and when I'm watching movies. If I see a scene or a car wreck scene, it's really hard for me to watch, and I'll start hyperventilating and having almost like panic attacks. And also, if I smell this like burnt tar, like whenever they place tar down on the road, I don't know why, but it gives me really bad memories and flashbacks from my crash. And so it's just been really hard for me since my crash to not relate everything to that.
Thank you for sharing your story. Um, so I'm just going to go through a little bit about what PTSD is and what the different criteria are in order to be diagnosed with PTSD. So there are currently 6 different criteria to be diagnosed with PTSD. The first being that you went through a traumatic event, which you obviously have, and you're very brave for telling your story here today. The second being some sort of an intrusive symptom, so that being flashbacks or nightmares, which you say you have quite often. So that's definitely one of the criteria for that. And then the third criteria is avoidance, which is avoiding your thoughts, which I think also comes into play whenever you're, you know, trying not to think about the incident and just avoiding those feelings from coming up. The fourth criteria being negative altercations or emotions in mood. So having negative beliefs about the world, which you have whenever you are on the road and, thinking you're to blame for that incident happening or anything that happens on the road is your fault. The fifth or second to last is arousal or reactivity, which is hyper fixations. So whenever you're on the road, you're just very tensed up and worried about that. So that definitely goes into that category. And then the last one being you've been having these feelings and these reactions for at least a month, which how long did you say again you'd been having these occurrences?
Well, my crash was about a year and a half ago, and I was in the hospital for 2 months. And then once I was released and I had to take a car home, I feel like that's when it all started getting back into the car. And now that I have to drive by myself, it's really hard to be on the roads and be just calm.
That is completely understandable. Um, and due to all of the things that you had just mentioned, I do think that you um, do have PTSD, and we will take the necessary steps in order to help you cope with what you've been through and kind of get through this stage in your life.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, awesome. All right, thank you for coming in or zooming with me.
Thank you. Okay, guys, so our summary of everything is overall, telehealth has advantages and disadvantages. In certain situations, telehealth can be beneficial and helpful to a patient and healthcare providers. In other situations, telehealth can lead to misdiagnosis or further health problems that could have been easily seen in a physical examination. The role of telehealth is a growing one within the medical field, and as the department grows, healthcare providers will find a way to enhance the experience that patients are having to enhance the telehealth. And then last, on our last slide, we have our citations, and that's the end of our presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.